Welcome everyone to Family Migrant Talks. We have our guest, Magnificent Immigration Agency, to talk about how an immigration consultant can help with your Canadian dream. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Andrea, and I'm a wife, a mom of four, and a Canadian immigrant. We arrived as permanent residents in 2015, and during that time, I started to document our lives as permanent residents. So I decided to put up the Filipino Immigrant in Canada Facebook page where I share our stories and our successes, sometimes even our obstacles. Then recently, I started the Family Immigrant Facebook page, which hosts the various shows to help aspiring Canadian immigrants adjust to the Canadian life. Also authored the e-course Best Kept Canadian Immigrant Secrets. I also started the Facebook group New Immigrants Adjusting to Canadian Life. I have good news because recently our Udemy course Canadian Immigrant Best Kept Secrets became highest rated in Udemy. So I invite you to check that out and see for yourself because my goal here is really to be able to share my experiences and the lessons I've learned in the past 6 years of being an immigrant. Today, let me welcome Sophia from Magnificent Immigration Agency to talk about how an immigration consultant can help you achieve your Canadian dream. Sophia,
Hi, Andrea.
hi.
Thank you for inviting me for today's session. And first of all, congratulations on being the highest rated e-course in Udemy.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, my name is Sophia. I own and operate Magnificent Immigration Agency, which is an immigration consulting firm. We do help clients obtain their permanent residency from start to finish, and we assist them in both temporary residence and permanent residency programs, such as student pathway, working permits, express entry, provincial nomination, and so much more. Today, I want to talk about one of the most asked questions in the immigration forums and other Facebook groups as well. Is there a need for you to hire an immigration consultant? Here are the top 10 reasons why I think you should. Reason number one, we are regulated, licensed by the Immigration Consultants of Canada Regulatory Council, ICCRC. It is the national federal governing body that licenses all immigration consultants in Canada. I do think that this is one of the most important qualifications that you should research about your immigration agent or immigration consultant. The reason why is because in the worst case scenario, you can actually file complaints to ICCRC if you have any conflicts with your immigration agent or consultant. If you would like to check whether your agent or consultant is regulated and licensed by ICCRC, just go to this website, iccrc-crcic.ca.
So does that mean if an immigration consultant is not listed among those, does that automatically mean that they are not licensed or not
Definitely,
necessarily?
definitely. So
Oh, okay.
if you, the company or the person who is posting as an immigration consultant is not included in the list, that means they are ghost consultants. So you want to try to avoid ghost consultants and scammers.
That's good to know because I've seen a lot of forums asking if this consultant is legitimate because that's normal for everyone to get scared and then have that hesitation. So at least they have a website where they can check whether this is a legitimate immigration consultant.
Definitely. I know it's no joke. It's a lot of money, so make sure that they are licensed. I just wanted to emphasize that please do avoid ghost consultants or scammers or fraudsters by doing your due diligence in researching whether your agent or consultant is listed on that. They do have the complaint process available in case you have any conflicts with your education agent or consultant. We go to reason number two. Immigration consultants like myself, we went through a rigorous process in order to become a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So we possess the knowledge and expertise on Canadian immigration regulations. We went through the diploma program, we went through an English examination, and the what we call full skills licensure exam. So this one is composed of 100 questions that are either multiple choice or we were given cases as well, and then we kind of processed that case and gave them the best possible answer as well. Reason number three, we are all insured. We have what we call errors and omissions insurance, E&O. For example, your immigration consultant made an unintended mistake in your application that led to a financial concern or liability. Our insurance would cover that financial liability as well.
Can you give us examples of what other these types of omissions or errors that can
Mhm.
cause of additional financial burden to the immigrant?
I would say, for example, your consultant failed to mention an important information in your file, whether, for example, you have a child or a dependent child that your immigration consultant failed to include in that application. So that would mean that the dependent wouldn't be able to be included in the application. That dependent would not be permanent resident, let's say, for example.
Oh,
So
okay.
that could claim an errors and emissions insurance. As your immigration agent or consultant, we do try our best to strengthen and strategize your complex immigration application. So it's we go beyond the form filling. It's more about us thinking how we could improve your application. And I do recognize that not all applications are the same. We have different backgrounds. It's not a cookie cutter kind of application for everyone. So we are here strengthening and strategizing your application.
Yeah, if I may add to that, at least for most immigrants that I encountered or talked to, they were looking at applying on their own because an immigration consultant would cost some money because they were thinking it's just documentation anyway, it's just filling up forms. So why should I pay someone else to do that if I can do it
Mm-hmm.
myself? So
Yeah,
that's where you come in, your strength and your skills, as well as your education, being a licensed consultant, to actually strengthen their application. When you say strengthen the application, what do you mean by that?
yeah. So as you may know, everything is basically shown on the website of the Government of Canada. So what's written in there would be their minimum qualifications, right? So for example, you apply for a student visa. The Government of Canada has produced what we call a documents checklist. So these documents that are included in the checklist are the minimum things that they're looking for. But people would tend to forget that these are just the minimum qualifications they're looking for. But it's your responsibility and the onus is on you to provide information that would strengthen your application, that would most likely get your application approved.
Oh, okay. So strengthening the application also means increasing your chances of
Yes.
being qualified.
Yes, definitely. So like I said, the documents checklist, they have the items that are required, but we, as immigration consultants, we suggest whatever other documentation that we feel like should be included in the application to increase their chances of getting approved. Reason number five, so overcoming refusals. These are more for applicants who DIY'd or done it themselves before. A lot of my clients who had refusals in the past did DIY applications. So as immigration consultants, we try to overcome the refusals. We read the refusal reasons and we kind of attack them. Go
So
ahead.
you're saying even if they have applied before and they were refused, they can still apply again?
Yes, definitely. Everyone's
Okay.
free to reapply, but it's just a matter of what would be your new information? How would you overcome all these refusal grounds? And that is our role as immigration consultants. We try to attack all of the refusal grounds and we make the reapplication even better.
Well, I think that alone is enough reason to hire an immigration consultant. Well, if it's only me and I've been refused the first time,
Yeah,
I've already spent money for that doing it myself. So, why not make it sure this time around? And I wouldn't mind
exactly.
paying, right?
Reason number six would be we do advise on medical and criminal history. So, what would be the next steps for you? For example, you have a criminal background. What are the other steps that you have to take in order for that inadmissibility reason to be kind of waived for you? And even for your medical background as well, what would be your steps, how to overcome all these? So, reason number seven, value for money. I think, Andrea, this is what you've been talking about as well, mentioning it would actually cost more for a client to do or submit DIY applications once or twice and then
Yeah.
just deciding on the third time to hire an immigration consultant instead of just hiring one for your first time and be able to get your approval later on. Well, the chances are higher if you hire an immigration consultant. I do not guarantee myself, but I do recommend that because your chances will be increased exponentially. As you can see, mistakes can be costly.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd rather get it right the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're not talking about, even if you do it yourself, it is costly already. So
Mhm.
why not do it right already the
Yeah.
first time? So the usual objection of many people when it comes to immigration consultants is it is very costly. When in this slide you're actually pointing out that it can actually be, well, less expensive than doing it yourself and being rejected.
No, definitely. I it's just the same as getting your IELTS getting your IELTS done, but
Mhm.
you were you were complacent that you will get it right, but then ended up failing it and not
Yeah, yeah.
achieving the appropriate bands and scores, rather than actually enrolling yourself in review centers and taking your time to familiar yourself with the content and the format, right? So I think you should plan ahead, take your time, and weigh the pros and cons as well. Reason number eight, this is what I mentioned a while ago. We go beyond the form filling. It's not just entering data. You know, we're not data enterers, right? I mean, it's part of the job, but it's not, it's probably like 5% of the job. But what you're paying for is not just the form filling and the gathering of documents, right? And even with the form filling, I know it's just like series of questions, but sometimes it's how you answer them as well.
But even if with regards to foreign feelings, sometimes the question itself is complicated.
I
You,
know.
you would still have to get an advice from someone. Not re, you know, if I actually took a look with at that form, and there are questions that are just confusing.
There
So
are questions that you would have to read 5, 10 times just to get it. And
yeah,
not all people are quick readers or quick learners like that, right?
yes,
So
yes.
I do get a lot of questions. How do I answer this? How do I answer that? And so it would be better for you to just hire someone that you know is a professional in that area and would be able to get it right away and would be able to present the answer in a more professional way as well. Reason number nine, evaluating the best immigration program most suitable for the client. So if you are an aspiring immigrant and you don't know where to start, this is where we come in. We give you options based on your qualifications on what immigration program you should apply for based on your education, your work experiences. And like I said before, it's not a cookie cutter kind of application. So just because your friend did this doesn't mean that you should also do this. You may be better off somewhere else.
Okay. So you're saying here, from my experience, at least back in the 2015, the most known program is the Express Entry. And most people, when they didn't qualify for Express Entry, they thought that's the end of their Canadian dream. So is that correct, or they still have other options?
Yeah, I could say that there are still other options available depending on the qualifications of the applicant. And I guess that's my role here as well. I do evaluate and assess what the most suitable immigration program would be for them.
Oh, okay, okay. So
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that because they weren't eligible for express entry, they're no longer
yeah.
eligible for other
It's not the
programs.
end of life. There are still
Oh,
options, alternative options for you.
so that's good. That's a spark of hope for everyone
Yes.
there. So not because you didn't qualify, because there's a self-assessment in the website, right? And
Yes.
most people get discouraged when they take that, or because just when by looking at the requirements,
Hmm.
don't they don't seem to be qualified. So
Yeah, I understand there are self-assessment tools, online calculators in the government website. But off the top of my head, I could already name 20 immigration programs that are available, and I'm sure there are more of them as well.
oh, okay. So now you know that there are at least 20 as of this show, there are at least 20 immigration programs, and
Yeah,
who knows, you might be qualified for more than one.
yes, definitely. We go to the last reason, top 10. We are by your side from start to finish. I know, as cliche as that sounds, but my role as an immigration consultant, I cannot speak for all immigration consultants here, but I do like touching base with my client from start to finish. And even when they're already here in Canada, I like to be that first person that they connect with, the first friend in Canada. I even help them with how do you open a bank account in Canada? How
Oh.
do you get a phone number? How do you get your social insurance number? My job doesn't stop when you're here. I like being your friend in Canada.
Oh,
And
that's going way
that's the
above and
bonus.
beyond.
Yes.
I can attest actually to the benefits of hiring an immigration consultant. Personally, me and my family landed as an immigrant in Canada through the help of an immigration consultant. At first, to be honest with you, we were hesitant because it costs a lot of money. I felt during that time that they just kept on asking for requirements, and then, of course, with the assurance that we're now on this stage of the application, and the next will be the submission of
Mhm.
documents, and then the next would be medical already. But then I felt, because we already entrusted all our papers and our
Mhm.
applicants application to the immigration consultant. Well, I felt that our future is really in the hands of the consultant. uh, so it was actually nice. I appreciated them most because back then, 2000, and I would say 2000 and early 2015, express entry was initially offered, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Mhm.
Okay. And it was so new that the immigration consultant called us right away. There's a new program, submit your documents as soon as possible, because
Mhm.
I can see that when you are qualified for this program, your application would be very fast. And
Mhm.
true enough, at first at first I really felt bad, because what, you're pulling out our application again, and then we're taking another route.
Yeah.
But and then providing the needed documents again, because it's not easy to secure documents, right?
Yeah.
So uh but then what he said really was true, because since then, so if it was the beginning of 2015, we he entered us into the express entry program.
Mhm.
In July of 2015, we're already in Canada.
Good.
So that was really fast. Imagine if we didn't have an immigration consultant, or if we were just doing it by ourselves, we won't be updated of the new programs that just opened up.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be updated of the documentary requirements that we need to submit. On top of
Mhm.
that, if you don't have an immigration consultant, you would really need to pay attention to the small details and always be updated of your application status, as well as the immigration policies of Canada,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And yeah, and if you're not the type who loves research, I don't know, because personally I don't love research. That's why I told my husband that let's just pay for an immigration consultant and just do it right the first time and not really guaranteed, but at least be sure of our chances of being accepted to Canada.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my story of an immigration consultant. And until now, I would really advise even my friends to, if they, if they really, really want to be in Canada, to be accepted as an immigrant, why not hire an
Mhm.
immigration consultant?
Yeah, I would have to agree, Andrea. When you said about the new programs and new policies, as immigration consultants, it is our responsibility to keep abreast with the new policies and the new programs so that we are updated of what's going on in the immigration world and see if any of our clients fit that new program. It's part of, I think, reason number 9. We do evaluate the most suitable program for you. And if there is a new program magically popping up, then we'll definitely let you know.
From what I've read from the immigration website, they're always coming up with new programs.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, because
It's ever
they're
changing.
really, yes, they're really encouraging immigrants
Hmm.
at this time, especially at this time.
Yeah. And I know the immigration minister, he said that we are still attracting more and more immigrants
Hmm.
because we didn't reach our target this year because of the pandemic. So
Hmm.
I am sure that there will be more new programs coming up.
Speaking of pandemic, because
Hmm.
a lot of people I have also talked to are asking, is it better to hold off my application right now?
Hmm.
Just pause, or just continue the application as is?
Hmm. I would say that don't hold off on your dreams. It
Mm-hmm.
will be delayed for sure because especially in the Philippines, I know that the embassy in Manila only opened sometime in October 19th. So a lot of backlog, a lot of delays, but definitely if you want to really come here, just launch your application and at least the waiting game is just, you know,
Yeah. Yes.
it's just going to be there, but at least you've already launched your application. You made the first step already.
Oh, that's right. You
Mhm.
wouldn't know until you make the first step.
Exactly.
So
And by the time you launch your application, for example, you held off your submission, and by the time you launch it, what if there's a new policy again? What if you were too late, right? So, again, like I said, it's ever changing, it's very uncertain. So, once the opportunity is there, I would say that just grab it.
as an immigration consultant, there's no right time to file an
Right
application.
now
What?
is the right time.
Yes, today is the right time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. What if so? Another question that I always get, they always ask how or where do I start? I know it's
Mhm.
case to case basis, but how do you answer that so that they will take action?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand it's case by case basis. So I really like seeing their profiles first. So upon the first contact with the client or an applicant, I would always ask them for their resumes, even their spouse's resume, if they have any dependent children, or do they have blood relatives in Canada, or siblings in Canada. I would like to see the full picture in order for me to be able to evaluate. Going back to reason number 9, in order for me to evaluate the most suitable immigration program for them. Yeah, so if they want to start with the process, please do contact us either through our website. We do have a contact form there, magnificantimmigration.com, or just message us on Facebook. So fb.com/magnificentimmigration Canada. We do have our messenger there, and we do reply typically within the day.
Mhm.
And email is also good, magnificentimmigration@gmail.com. Just let us know of your name. And once you send that first inquiry, we'll be able to send you some sort of questionnaires that would lead for us to be able to assess your qualifications. I'd also like to add some more things. Of course, after this presentation, at the end of the day, you have to know what works best for you.
Mhm.
Of course, that would be your discretion, right? But before you jump in, do it yourself application or through an agent, here's some checklist for you. So please always check if your agent or your consultant is licensed by ICCRC, and do your own research as well. research their website, their Facebook, look at their reviews to see whether they're legit or not. I don't recommend relying solely on forums or Facebook groups
Yeah.
just to get your answers, because not all of them are fully educated on the immigration programs and regulations. A lot of them are just answering through their own experience that may or may not be positive or approved. So yeah, so do your own due diligence as well. Send a casual inquiry, say, hi, Sophia. I watched Andrea's talk show and I would like to get my application started. As simple as that, I'll be able to give you the questionnaire later on. And yeah, this is where you get started.
Oh, thank you. I'm so for no reason, for some reason that made me feel excited. Maybe brought back memories of when we started applying to. But if I were you, take that first step. There's no cost asking Sophia, that I would like to migrate to Canada and what's the next steps that I should do. Thank you, Sophia. I would like to invite you again to follow and join our Facebook group, New Immigrants Adjusting to Canadian Life, as well as follow our page, Filipino Immigrant in Canada and Family Migrant, because I share our stories there. So at least you get a glimpse of what an immigrant life looks like in Canada. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you again, Sophia.
Yes. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thanks for inviting me again today.